Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Apple and Spotify podcasts. All right, welcome back to episode 63 here of the Bullpen. Coming off the Kickoff Classic weekend down in the Metro East area, saw some teams from all over the state, really. A lot of Power 25 teams. I thought it was a really good just event overall. I know Coach Funkhauser at Edwardsville always does a good job with that, but do you guys have any major takeaways from our weekend down there?
Echo a lot of what you said. I feel like a takeaway for me was how nice Plummer Park was looking. Like last year, I remember Hammond, I think maybe just you and me were the only two that got over there last year. And it wasn't like completely finished quite yet this time last year, but now it looks phenomenal. I'm talking about that big quad where all the games were going on. I know the youth stuff I think's been done for a while, but I thought Plummer Park was awesome. It's a great setup to watch games. You're kind of like looking down from where we sit. So thought Plummer Park looked great, and like the weather was just absolutely phenomenal. I know some of you guys were able to rock shorts most days. I did not pack properly for the trip, but no, it was great. It's always great getting down there, but I feel like the weather was the real MVP last week.
Yeah,
I would
I
agree.
can't believe I felt sun. Honestly, that was a big takeaway.
Yeah, I forgot sunscreen. I got a little fried on Saturday. But also shout out to Funk for like scheduling good matchups. And he did his best to kind of make it to where like you're not driving 4 hours to play a team that you could play any day of the week. So they were kind of playing, teams that they typically wouldn't play. There was some good matchups too, like a handful of Power 25 matchups, a couple like high-level Missouri teams, Kentucky teams were down there playing good schools. So it was just, all around a good event. Probably, like we said, the best weather we've ever had. And I thought it was, a really, really good time.
You guys have kind of said everything that I would say. I think what's really awesome for us, and like a huge takeaway that I have for us, is how much we get to see. We have a handful of scouts going down, and we try to see as much as we can, and we're still missing stuff, which kind of crushes me, like that there's games going on that we can't see. But the amount of volume of prospects, teams that we get in-game looks on to start the year, like it could not be more beneficial for us. When you start talking about Power 25 rankings, we do all this stuff based off of what we know already going into the year, what coaches submit on the questionnaire, what we see in the winter, but then to actually see a team play. To see guys that maybe we didn't know about. I mean, a new Trier arm, Nick Bailey, that I got to see. We've never heard of him. We didn't have him, a profile for him. Well, we'll talk about him later, but just the amount of takeaways from a team standpoint, and then from a player standpoint. So many uncommitted guys we saw, so many names that like I'd maybe heard about but haven't seen, and then so many names we did know, and then you go watch them and they show out. So that's what I love, is just the volume of stuff that we see in one weekend over the course of 4 days. Really sets us up for the spring. Gives us great looks at teams, gives us a much better idea of where things stand, and now we can kind of base the rest of our spring off of that. So really, really awesome opening week. The best weather since we've run the Kickoff Classic that we've ever had down there. Had to be close to record high temperatures all throughout the state, I would think, on those days, like Friday, Saturday in particular. It was nice to like feel a little sweat and just to be outside. So no, awesome Kickoff Classic, and Coach Funkhauser's the man down there at Edwardsville. You guys said it, so it's a good start to the spring.
Yeah, some awesome college baseball notes over the weekend. I mean, just going through it on D1 Baseball's site, it looked like a lot of teams from Illinois won their series, and it looks like a lot of teams are getting into conference play now. Just starting off, like NIU, they swept Miami of Ohio. NIU's now 13-7 overall. They're 6-3 in conference. They're third in the MAC right now. They have the second most total wins on the year in the MAC as well. ISU, they swept Belmont. They're 17-7, 3-0 in conference. they're at the top of the conference right now, tied with Murray State, but they have the most total wins in the Missouri Valley as well. And then before yesterday's loss to Iowa, they were on a 9-game win streak. So they're pretty hot right now. But yeah, any other teams that stand out for you guys, or anything you wanted to call out for the weekend?
I mean, you mentioned NIU. Like, I'll throw out a shout out to Ivan Dahlberg, from Manuka. Just looked like he hit a bunch of tanks all weekend, including like a walk-off home run. So that was one I saw. And then, like, outside of the D1 landscape, I just want to shout out Cameron Yearsley, Yorkville grad. He's down at Johnny Logan. I just wanted to look at his updated numbers. I think he's got 19 home runs on the year, which is just an absolutely absurd number. I don't know if it's leading JUCO baseball or whatnot, but regardless, like, just a monster season out of Cameron. He was a left-handed hitter, always had a ton of juice in high school, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said I thought he'd go there and hit, 19 home runs by this time of the year. So, a couple shout outs I had, and I'll give it up to you guys for whatever else you may have.
I've got a shout out for NIU as well. 2022 Willowbrook grad, Max Weiss Villa. He left-handed pitcher. He went to Loris his freshman year. That was my junior year, I believe he was there with me. And then he transferred out, went to Wabash Valley, and now is at NIU. He threw a complete game with 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 5 Ks against Miami. So shout out, Matt.
Nice.
Shout out those D3 legends, Nick. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Shout
one
out
more
Northwestern.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll go really quick here, Gav. They beat number 21 Oregon 11-10. Jack Lausch hitting 263 on the year, and he's leading the team with 5 home runs. So he's kind of getting back into the swing of things. No pun intended, but yeah, I mean, unbelievable story there with him going there to play football, and like us kind of joking on the side that like the best baseball player in the school doesn't even play baseball at Northwestern. So they got him on the team. And he's starting to put it together a little bit. So that's one that we need to watch for the draft potentially this summer.
Hey,
Well, and
speaking
that's
of,
2 weeks. Sorry, Gav. Sorry.
it's all
That's
good.
2 weekends in a row that they've knocked off not a power 25, a top 25 team.
Good shout out for the Power 25. Let's go.
Because they took a game from USC last weekend, and then they're taking a game from Oregon this past weekend. So, shout out to the Wildcats. I know they'd obviously love to win the series and whatnot, but I think it's a big deal that they're even taking a game from those top 25 teams.
I was gonna say a shot. Like, I think I saw a tweet about Jack that he is the only person to play football at Wrigley Field and baseball at Wrigley Field, which is pretty cool.
That's an interesting. How do you cross check that?
He's the only guy who has played a baseball game in a football stadium, in a football game in a baseball stadium.
But it was Wrigley Field, right?
Well, he played baseball.
Well, no, the baseball was in the Vikings Stadium at that tournament they host every year.
Got it.
And then the football's at Wrigley.
Yeah.
Got it.
Interesting. I like that nugget. Sticking on Northwestern, I saw Jake Reifenberg. He's been throwing a lot for him, but he had a good outing over the weekend, and that's a guy that was like a pro case guy for us in the winter. Was huge for Bennett last year, making their state run. Looked like he threw 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Was always a good moving left-hander. So just shout out there, Jake Reifenberg, getting on the field early.
Yeah, one more nugget for Illinois State. I mean, they had both the pitcher and player of the week in the Missouri Valley this year. Michael Adari, Libertyville 2022 grad, was the pitcher of the week, and then Braden Bakes, Huntley 2023 grad, was the player of the week. Braden was also named to Baseball America's Team of the Week. He went 12 for 18 with 5 homers, 8 runs scored, 13 RBIs, and that was all in 4 games. And then as of March 24th, Braden leads the Missouri Valley in batting average with a .417 batting average, home runs 10, and then RBIs at 29. And then Michael Adari threw 5 innings last week and struck out 7 in their win over Belmont, and he leads the Missouri Valley in ERA with a 1.04.
I had a little nugget just scrolling through Twitter. I saw Brady Green got the start for Bucknell yesterday. So first collegiate start, looked like he was playing second base and hitting 7-hole. I didn't look at the stats, but I just thought that was cool, starting as a freshman.
Well, I don't have it written down in this sheet, but I know last week when we were down at Kickoff Classic, we saw Gavin Triesenberg was starting to get some starts for Arizona out there as a true freshman out of Brother Rice. And from what I saw, like I don't have any hard numbers on me, but I saw they tweeted out a couple swings from him, getting hits, and then also saw he made a great play defensively at shortstop for Arizona to cut a runner down trying to take home. So. Shout out to Gavin. I feel like that's a guy we all really liked seeing last year. Was like a huge winner for us all spring. So happy to see him getting some play time.
How about this PCA extension? Who wants to touch on that? Big news coming in yesterday, or I think the official number came through today that I saw. So
Seems like a great deal for us. I feel like it's not a lot of money for Pete, unfortunately. And today's his birthday, ironically. So I don't know. I'm really happy that we got him. Like, it's an unbelievable deal. But yeah, I feel like he kind of got fleeced a little bit. I don't know what you guys think.
I saw a tweet again. I don't remember what it said exactly. It sounded like he was willing to take less money or something because he wanted. I don't know if it was to help out the team or whatever it was, but I don't want to quote it. But it sounded like he was okay with taking less money. He was not that worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised. He seems like a great kid. I mean, I get it. Like, he's really young. He's like somewhat unproven. Like, he had a great first half last year, but he's not gonna be a free agent until he's like 31 now, which is just kind of nuts. I know we were kind of talking about it a little bit yesterday, just kind of on the side, but yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with it.
I hope they can now lock up Nico Horner, because he's still out there needing a contract. Am I right with that? There was all the trade talk coming into the year, or at least in like early spring training. But no, I mean, you lock up a left-handed hitting center fielder that's one of the best defenders in the game, and you get him for a couple years, and I mean, it gives him security. I mean, I think his overall contract's over 100 million that he's going to be bringing in. So, I think when you say got fleeced or whatever, like, I think that speaks to the nature of the baseball salaries right now and just how fruitful it is for these guys and how young kids out there should be playing the game. Um, and dreaming of that, because he's going to be taken care of for life now. And then it also will, give him an opportunity to sign a second contract when he is 30, 31. I don't know. There's so many opt-out clauses in contracts and stuff. I don't know the details on his contract, but no, I love it. If it's a team-friendly deal and it allows us to maybe sign some more guys and lock up some more guys, and that's even better. But yeah, I would love to get Nico locked up and see what the Cubs can do here. I'm excited. I think they've got a really, really good roster on paper right now. And got to stay healthy. Got to get Suzuki, off that knee injury from the WBC back and doing well. But yeah, I love it. I mean, he clearly proved like he can go off in the first half of the spring, and he clearly proved like there's some things he needs to shore up in the second half. And I liked what I saw at the WBC, so I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Well, and Pete, you talked about how like he kind of took a team friendly deal, and if you think about it, it makes a ton of sense. Like, I know we talked about it in the offseason, but he just seems like a guy who loves Chicago, loves being in Chicago. You see him at Blackhawks games with Caleb Williams. He was at Bears games. Like, it kind of makes a ton of sense that like he'd be doing kind of whatever it takes to stay in a Cubs uniform. So, like, I'm obviously not a Cubs fan, but like as like you guys as fans, like I feel like that would really fire you up. Like a guy who just genuinely wants to be there.
Yeah,
It
he's
speaks
bought
to the
in.
organization.
Yeah, he's bought in, and I mean, it looks like the Cubs are number 5 on the preseason power rankings. But little off topic, not really. I mean, it's about his mom. Anyone that really knows ball, Drew, I'm curious if you know this. She's in
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the best baseball movies of all time, in Little Big League, as the mom in that movie. So I've always been a big fan of the Crow Armstrong family. So we're happy to have Pete around for a while.
Yeah, that was you guys weren't around, but when Nathan Rohde was a part of the company, he used to scout PCA, Pete Armstrong, and that was his always his go-to fact back in the day. But yeah, yeah, I did know that about PCA, and go check that movie out if you haven't watched it before.
All right, so looking at some Power 25 Week 1 notes, do you guys have anything that stands out to you? I mean, Normal Community Drew, I'm sure you'll touch on that later. They earned a win at the Kickoff Classic over a Power 25 team, and you were at that game. But, I mean, really, any other notes or anything you guys want to mention on the week?
It's still very early. Like
Yeah.
we didn't update it this week for a reason. Some teams played 2 games. Some teams actually got to play 5 games. Some teams played no games at all last week, depending on where they're situated in the state and fields and whatnot. So it's still very early. I feel like, hopefully I'm not putting the cart ahead of the horse here, but I feel like next week we'll probably make our first update, but just wanted to reemphasize it's still very, very early.
Yeah, I just love the fact that teams are able to play. Opening week, the weather was good enough. Teams were able to get some games under their belt. And I would say in years past, like the only teams that would play that first week are these teams going on these spring trips. Like Brother Rice going out to Vegas, some of these teams going down to Florida, some going down to Tennessee. Or if they were playing through 30, 40-degree weather and just doing whatever they could to get games in. So it's nice to have, teams that have 5 games, under their belt, all played in Illinois, like an OPRF. You do not see that very often coming off week 1. But yeah, I would think we'll see how the rest of this week looks. And on Sunday, after all these teams play games again this week, we'll take a look at what records look like. And hey, do we have enough sample size to actually make an update that makes sense? Or do we, just talk about, hey, some teams that are on the rise, some teams trending well, some teams that maybe, scuffled to start the season. We'll see. I would love to update it. But either way, super early in the year, not into conference play yet or anything like that. And, yeah, I mean, Gavin, you mentioned it. One of the better games I saw at the Kickoff Classic was Normal Community playing O'Fallon. We got a couple like Power 25 matchups so far to start the year. I know Lane Tech has played 2 Power 25 teams and stuff like that. Lincoln Way East had a good win over Downers Grove North. Lincoln Way East is 2-0 on the year, and I mean they took down Colin Doyle in his first start. And I know that's a whole nother thing is like these starting pitchers aren't extended yet, and they shouldn't be. Like, you should not be throwing a starter 7 innings unless they're super efficient and can somehow get 4 or 5 innings. But, like, their arms are not built up yet. So a lot of it, yeah, later in May, when you face Colin Doyle, he may go 7 innings, which changes it because you don't have to get into the bullpen and stuff like that. But I thought that was a nice thing about Kickoff Classic and just any game early in the year is you're seeing a lot of these teams' entire staff. You're not going to watch a game and just seeing one arm. You're seeing, hey, who is their go-to guy out of the bullpen? Do they match up? Do they have lefties that can get lefties out? Do they have to go to nothing but righties? And every team is, a little bit different as far as how they're built and what luxury they have of players that are, in their school district and stuff like that. But no, those are just a couple notes that I had on it, Gavin. I'm sure there's other things you guys want to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, Ottawa Marquette, I mean, they've played some smaller schools, but they've scored 10 runs, over 10 runs in every single game so far. They've only given up 2 runs on the year. Sacred Heart Griffin started off 4-0. They had a Power 25 win over OPRF, but some of these teams for me outside of the Power 25 that I was pretty intrigued by, Muhammad Seymour started out 4-0. They played all out-of-state schools. They must have went on a trip somewhere down south. Who else we got here? Like Tremont started out 4-0, Monticello 4-0, North Clay, we saw them at the Kickoff Classic. They started out 3-0. I thought they were a really interesting team. I'll talk about Jack Compton a little bit later, but East Peoria started out 3-0. Yeah, I mean, pretty good week all around for some of these teams. So those were some of the biggest takeaways for me from the record standpoint. I mean, looking at the Kickoff Classic, I think we'll kind of break down some of the top prospects we saw, some of our favorite guys, kind of like we've always broken it down with the showcases this year. We kind of did the same thing with the Kickoff Classic. So we can kind of get into, like, I guess, different segments within. So our first one here, we got top performer. I can just get right in. It's left-handed pitcher Davin Warman, a Kaskaskia commit from Teutopolis. I mean, Tyler, we were both at that game. He hit a walk-off home run to win it against Columbia. That was probably the biggest, I guess, thing from the game, but he also pitched on the mound. And Tyler, I think you were on the side, Teutopolis' side, and their on-deck hitter said to you, he was like, hey, he's going to hit a home run here, didn't he?
Yeah, he was trying to make a bet with me. He was trying to wager 50 cents. So nothing that would have like absolutely crushed me, but work ethics wise, I didn't think I was allowed to do that, so I didn't take him up on it. But yeah, his exact words were, bet you 50 cents here that he hits a home run.
And he does.
The next pitch was like like it was not anywhere near the zone. The pitch right after that, the rest is history. So shout out to whoever was on deck. Sorry, I don't have the name on me, but yeah, he called it.
No, it's probably good you don't have the name. You're keeping him out of getting in trouble. But no, I love the confidence he has in his guy. You love to see that.
But I mean, it was a really impressive game overall for Davin. He went 3 for 4 at the plate, 2 RBIs, obviously the walk-off home run. I liked the left-handed swing a lot. It's very simple. I thought he had quick hands through the zone. And then on the mound, I mean, it was really impressive to me. An athlete, pitches from the left side, through 4 innings, struck out 7, only walked 1, allowed 1 run and 5 hits against a pretty good Columbia team. They've got a guy like Brody Landgraf hitting in that lineup. Connor Baczynski hit a home run in that game. So they have some pretty good hitters on that team too. But, I mean, he was 87 to 88 from the left side. I thought his curveball was like a sweeper at 71 to 75. He threw a changeup at 77 to 81. And he had feel for all of the pitches. I thought it was a really impressive outing, his first outing of the year. I liked the movement patterns, quick arm. Like, I think, as he goes to Kaskaskia and develops, I think he's got a lot more to come still. So really like to look at Davin, both at the plate and on the mound. So that's my top performer from the weekend.
Well, and one last nugget on Davin, the strides he's made. So I saw him at the Kickoff Classic last spring. Really liked the bat. I was rereading my scout blog I had on him from last year, and to show you the strides he's made, like on the mound, he was pitching last year when I saw him as well. He was topping at 80 miles an hour. You fast forward a year, he's now running it up to 88. So kudos to Davin. Clearly the kid has a work ethic and has been getting after it in the past calendar year. So I think that's a really cool nugget, and just kind of goes to show that like the velo typically comes, right? If you're willing to work for it, it'll come. So it's not the end-all be-all, especially when you're younger. But kudos to Davin. It was a very impressive game, Gavin, like you said. For me, I've got 2 here. I feel like the first name I'm going to mention could have been used by not only myself, but also Drew and Pete, and that's Keegan Sipe. Homered all 3 days. I got to see him the first day, Thursday night. Left-handed hitter for Triad, 2027, committed to Xavier. First baseman. I mean, physically, the kid just looks like a monster. And don't get me wrong, he's kind of had an advanced frame dating back to, probably when he was 13 at our junior future games. But, man, it's like somehow it's gotten even more impressive physically. Just first at bat of the year, just absolutely craps on a baseball. It might, I don't even know if it's landed yet. That's how far he hit it, but really like the left-handed bat. We've all long liked it. But for me, like defensively, I think the athleticism's really ticked up. Like he made a diving stop over there at first, and it just kind of looked like very routine for him. So he was my top performer. Like not only just what I saw, but then what Drew saw the next day, and then Pete saw Saturday. The fact that he homered all 3 days is super impressive. Obviously, he's on pace for, what would that be, like 36 homers if he keeps it up. So that's my first one, but I'll let any of you guys get in on Keegan if you guys have anything else.
Yeah, I think we've always really liked Keegan. He was a future gamer. He really stood out to me at the future games with how he handled his at-bats. He faced a ton of lefties randomly at that event. It just felt like every time he came up, he was facing a lefty, tough left matchups. And what I kind of took away from watching him is I think he's like firmly established himself as like one of the top left-handed hitters in the state. Xavier commit, and there's a really good feel for the zone. There's feel to hit. He recognizes spin, and he's all over the barrel, and he's all over the barrel with like big time authority. And you don't see that too often. Like guys that can pair the hit tool with the power tool. And then a lot of like his home runs, like he can hit it to all fields. Like I think that's what really stood out. You saw him turn on one, pull one, catch it out front, and then me and Pete saw him like backside balls. And then I also saw him like almost knock over the first baseman with a hard barrel ground ball that the first baseman made a nice play on to get him out. But no, Keegan Sipe, like huge, huge showing. I think it was really hard for us this year. This week, we got a ton of great player of the week nominations. And it's like, how do you not give it to a guy that hit a home run in every game he played, every game we were at, we witnessed the at-bats he took, but that just speaks to like these performances these other guys put up as well. But no, awesome first showing here for Keegan.
Yeah, he's so impressive. Like you said, Tyler, like he's super physical and he's been physical for a long time, but now it's like man strength and it's like really maturing and like he just looks like that middle of the order power four. I mean, I know he's going to Xavier, which is not power four, but those Division One middle of the order bats. And just I saw him go backside, and it was easy juice. Just flicked it over the 375 sign, and he just has that look in the box. Like if you throw it anywhere in this box, it's gonna leave a lot faster than it's coming in, and that's like basically what he's done every game so far. So, I mean, he's a huge part of why we like that team, and he's off to a great start. But I can roll if you guys want me. Anyone got anything else for him?
No, go ahead. I have one more guy to touch on, but you guys go ahead and get in there.
No, go ahead.
No, okay. And then my last guy.
No,
it was kind of like a tie here for who I wanted to use its top performer, but Liam Scaife, and I hope I'm saying that right, Liam. Right-handed arm out of Freeburg, 2027. He's uncommitted. Now this is a guy I feel like we really wanted to track down while we were down there at Kickoff Classic last weekend, and got the ball to start Saturday morning for Freeburg against Joliet West. And, man, I was so impressed with his outing. It was 84-87 with the fastball. Got swings and misses with both the fastball and his slider. I think both pitches are well above average. He kind of throws from like a lower slot, so there's some deception there with the fastball. It plays, in my opinion, a little heavier through the zone. And he also flashed a cutter at 80-82, like an actual cutter, not, just some knockoff of a slider. But no hit outing over 5 innings. And he was very efficient too. Had 7 strikeouts, no hits, no walks. Kid was filling up the zone with all of his offerings, and a guy that, I think next rankings update is going to be a very big winner for us.
My top performance that I saw came on the first day of the Kickoff Classic and opening day for Edwardsville. Hunter Ball, he went off. He went 3 for 4 with a grand slam, which kind of broke the game open. And then he had 5 RBIs total, 2 runs scored, and it was a 13-3 win over East Moline United. But on top of that, he just played a legit shortstop. Like he ranged easily to both sides, made a ton of plays. The arm strength is very well above average, and it plays quick release, like carry across the diamond. He's a guy that's going to stick on the infield long term for sure. So I think that only adds to his performance, like being able to play that legit of a shortstop. But yeah, Hunter Ball, my opening week favorite or top performer actually.
Fire me up, Pete. Hunter Ball's long been a fan favorite of mine. I love the way he plays the game. I love like all the actions he has in everything he does on the field, whether it's the way he swings a bat or how he handles himself on the mound. You mentioned the shortstop defense. I saw him against New Trier, and like just to kind of tack on his performance, I saw him break up a no-hitter in the 5th with a double, and then he also had a RBI single in the last inning there. But huge fan of Hunter Ball. The middle infield over there at Edwardsville is going to be, really one of the best middle infields in the state, I would say, with Nick Chirotto and Hunter Ball when they're not on the mound. So, love to hear that, though. Shout out Hunter Ball, Lindenwood commit. I guess, Nick, yeah, you going to take it into this next guy who I
Yeah,
also got to look at as well?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, my top performer was Chase Estrada out of New Trier. He's a freshman hitting fourth. I saw him on Friday night against McCracken County. He was DHing this game. He was 2 for 4 with 3 out of the 5 RBIs that the team had against the third-ranked team in Kentucky. He hit the walk-off single in the bottom of the seventh to take him down. I mean, he used the whole field. He had feel for the barrel. He lined a single to left earlier in the game and then was battling in the bottom of the seventh in a pretty good AB. He was recognizing breaking balls. He had a mature approach and actually took I'm pretty sure it was breaking ball. He took it the other way to right field to end the game. And I know, Drew, you also got a really good look at him, but I was really impressed with the maturity of a freshman hitting fourth on a top 25 team in our state and against, pitchers that were upper 80s against in Kentucky. But it was really impressive look for Chase Estrada.
I mean, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. The fact that he's hitting 4-hole for New Trier, one of the biggest high schools in the state, and they're loaded. Like their offensive lineup, at least when I saw him, was locked in against Edwardsville. And he was probably the most locked in. He went 4 for 4 in the game I was at. I mean, you mentioned like the mature, polished look to him. That's exactly the takeaway that I had. Like, there's minimal swing and miss. He doesn't try to do too much. He's consistently on time, and he was just peppering balls into left center field gap. Had 3 RBIs. If my game card's right, I'm just peeking back at like everything I wrote down. Also lined the ball to right field in his first at bat. So like whole field approach. Love it. We saw him this winter. And we've seen him in the past at some tournaments and stuff, but he came this winter to our O'Hare preseason ID. He's long been known for the bat. But you just watch the video and it's like, okay, like that swing really, really works. We ranked him in the top, like one of the top prospects in the class. Find out that he's playing varsity for New Trier. Think it's going to be really good, but for it to show up on the field this early, right away in the spring season, his freshman year is just really, really impressive. So he's firmly put himself on the map as like, okay, he's one of the top bats in the, in the 2029 class. Let's see kind of the way it trends. I didn't get to see him play defense. They have Keenan Donaldson behind the plate, who's really talented in his own right. He was a senior future gamer for us. So that will also kind of impact the overall evaluation on Chase Estrada, but the bat is real, and he's going to be a guy to watch for New Trier for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, his first high school game that was against McCracken County on a Friday night, kid hits a walk-off. So that just itself is impressive.
It's hard to go up from there, right? Like
Yeah,
he's setting the
yeah.
bar pretty high. A guy who set the bar pretty high for me and ended up, we mentioned Keegan Sipe hitting 3 home runs, but Caleb Hornbrook from Normal U High. So I get to watch Normal Community play O'Fallon on Thursday. Friday, I get up, I get over to Sauget. It's a new ballpark. They renamed it. If anybody had, it's like the Arsenal BG
Arsenal
ballpark
BG
now.
Ballpark. You're all
Wow.
over it.
Can't
Check you
believe I
out.
pulled that off. That came out of nowhere. I got lucky with that one. But I go over to Sauget, the former GCS ballpark, now the Arsenal BG ballpark, and I watched Normal University play Oswego, and then they play Champaign Central, and they dominated both games. Really just overall impressive showing for Normal U High. Saw a lot of good arms, saw a lot of guys that I'll kind of touch on here as we talk about these different categories. But just in the 2 games when I was there, he had collected 9 RBIs already. And then I want to make sure I get his entire stat line on the week correct. But for the week, he went 9 for 10, a home run, a triple, 2 doubles, 11 RBIs, and a run scored and 2 walks. Just a ridiculous stat line to open the year. I mean, shoot, he could probably go as 0 for his next 20, and he'd be, hitting 9 for 30. So he'd probably be hitting over 300 if he went 0 for his next 20. So the guy's sitting pretty right now. And Caleb Hornbrook, catcher, I saw him hit a home run over like the big left field wall they have there. I saw him bang a double off the left field wall. A lot of just pull side, loud contact throughout the 2 days. So that was a performer for me. And then I guess, man, I got the next couple guys here. I mentioned Normal Community O'Fallon. O'Fallon shortstop Carson Bauer, senior shortstop committed to Drury, stood out to me like they're early watching pregame. Absolutely love the actions. Was playing with a lot of confidence. Looked like he had added 15 pounds of muscle, moving around very fluidly, playing with body control. And I loved like every single throw was right on the bag of the first baseman. You see a lot of these guys, especially early on in the year, like arms are a little erratic coming across from short, but man, he was throwing from all slots, making it look easy. And then he goes on in the game. They're facing a low 90s arm, and he proceeds to double down the left field line in his first at bat off a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Comes up later, doubles again down the left field line. So that's kind of his stroke as he stays inside the baseball. He loves to use the opposite field. So like if you're a pitcher and you're throwing fastball away to him, like you are just feeding it in his sweet spot. But he was all over it, looked really good. He also had a walk, 2 runs scored. And just a really good showing for Carson Bauer, hitting at the top of the lineup there for O'Fallon. And then early on Wednesday, Will Hanna. He's from Massac County. He's down there covering Kentucky for us, covers some Southern Illinois stuff for us. But he came up and was watching Columbia. Got a really, really good look at Connor Baczynski, a 2028 right-handed arm. Connor has long been like highly, highly intriguing to us. He's 6'3" body, like drawn up the correct way, athletic, loose levered. He was at the super sophomore games last year, but he goes out, throws 5 innings, struck out 7, filled up the zone through 67% strikes. Also showed like an 83 mile an hour changeup, was landing the breaking ball, and just a really good first outing for Connor. One of the livelier arms in that 2028 class was up to 90 plus this winter. I should have pulled that up. But there's all kind of arm strength in there. And to see him pitching in the first outing at 87, 88, like it's easy to dream that by, playoff time, he'll be touching 90, 91 in game. So sorry for rambling, but those were some absolute stellar standouts that deserved a mention here from the Kickoff Classic.
Yeah, an uncommitted follow for me now is right-handed pitcher Landon Dipple, a 2027 out of O'Fallon. Kind of a guy that we didn't really have a ton on. You look at his profile, we haven't seen him a ton or really at all. 6 foot, 215-pound guy. Came into the game against Revis. Their starting pitcher for O'Fallon was not doing too great, to be honest, the first couple innings. Landon comes in relief and just absolutely carves. Really competitive, working really quick, trying to get on hitters quick. I really liked it. The mover was pretty good. 82 to 86 with the fastball. Touched 87 once, touched 88 once. Getting a lot of swing and miss on his slider. It was like 71 to 74. Threw strikes for 68%, 68% clip. But yeah, I just really liked the mover. I liked how competitive he was, how quick he was working. He was really trying to get on these hitters and just kind of keep them uncomfortable to the point where like they started walking up to the box slower. Started calling a lot more timeouts, things like that, because he was just like ready to go the entire time. But no, I was impressed. He came in and really kind of kept it at bay, but O'Fallon's offense just couldn't really get anything going. But no, Landon Dipple, uncommitted, 2027, out of O'Fallon to know there.
And I saw a couple seniors that are somewhat shocking. That they're still on the board, and colleges out there should love that, because if you still need some arms, like I saw 2 guys, Nick Bailey from New Trier, and then Owen Stoffel from O'Fallon. I'll start with Nick Bailey, because it was, first off, I mentioned him at the start of this podcast, but he's starting for New Trier against Edwardsville, their final game here, the Kickoff Classic on Saturday. Talking to Coach Napoleon before the game, he's like, hey, I think you're really going to like Bailey. I was like, okay, like I had never heard of him. We don't have a profile for him. So I didn't really know what that meant, like how much I would like him. But he comes out and like first warm-up pitch, just the way the arm worked, the way the ball came out of his hand, I was like, okay, I don't have the radar gun up at the time, but I'm watching the delivery. I'm also looking at his repertoire. What's he signaling? So I know in my, game card, does he call it a slider? Does he call it a splitter? Whatever it may be. Watch his whole warm-up routine. I'm like, all right, this guy's got a chance. And then first pitch out of the hand, 88 with life, right past the hitter. and proceeds to just carve. He went 5 2/3. He had a no-hitter going into his final inning before he gave up a double to Hunter Ball, which we mentioned earlier. But what I loved about it was he's like, first off, a really good-looking frame, 6'1", well proportioned, and it's a loose, quick arm that's pretty clean. There's a little bit of a high back elbow, but man, the way the thing comes through, love the way the fastball comes out of the hand. And he sat 86, 88 throughout his entire outing, touched 89 in the first. But what sold me on him was the starter profile and the secondary offerings that he has through a great slider in the mid 70s. Like, for an unsigned senior to have this slider in his arsenal, horizontal, advanced feel, like high spin, 2,600 plus. I want to go back and look at my notes exactly to see what the spin was, but getting all kinds of swing and miss, could throw it in any count. And then he's showing off a change-up splitter that he had as well, that he had feel for. So it's like, this guy's got 3 pitches. There's more in the tank. He's sitting in the upper 80s. He was up to 88 still in the fourth, and he carved at Power 25 lineup. Ended up winning our Pitcher of the Week award. Struck out 12, walked 2, did not allow a run. Nick Bailey needs to be known by college coaches out there. It was extremely impressive. I think like the best is yet to come for him as well. So excited to see kind of where he lands and if he gets some attention off that outing. Then another arm, Owen Stoffel at O'Fallon. I mentioned like, hey, it's great to see these schools not go to their starter for more than 3, 4, 5 innings, depending on how efficient they are. O'Fallon, I end up, seeing Will Vanderhayden, who's a really talented 28, but then they go to Liam Laventoll, and then right after him, they go to Owen Stoffel. So they started a righty, and then they go to 2 lefties. Owen Stoffel was extremely impressive. Normal community, excuse me here, Gav, normal community, had a pretty big lead at the time. But they go to Stoffel, and he just shut things down and allowed O'Fallon to chip away, get back into the game. It's a unique lower slot, and he was like 81 to 83, touching an 84, but he was getting all kinds of like uncomfortable late swings. And I think it's, lower slot, his fastball holds playing. He was commanding it to the arm side, and he also was like getting really far down the mound from what it looked like. Like there was some extension there as well. I loved it. Like for an unsigned senior lefty, just filled up the strike zone, threw a horizontal breaking ball in there, kind of short, tight, just enough to get off barrels, keep guys guessing. And another one that I think he's like high academic, just looking at his Twitter, I want to say he had like a 35 ACT listed on his Twitter handle, his X handle. So coaches should know about Owen. And I felt really lucky to like just see these 2 performances on guys that we did not have a ton on, that are still uncommitted, that hopefully, by us talking about them, by us tweeting about them, by us putting our scout blogs out there, like we'll get some more attention and hopefully find the right landing spot for them.
Well, Drew, you saw both Player of the Weeks. You mentioned you saw Nick Bailey, Pitcher of the Week. And then Caleb Hornbrook, he won our Player of the Week after going 9 for 10. So, I mean, we kind of mentioned Keegan Sipe, like how do you not win it going, having a home run in every game? Well, if you go 9 for 10 with 11 RBIs, it's also pretty good. So that was kind of where our heads were at. But yeah, both deserve shout outs.
Wasn't biased at all. We looked at all the, just because I had my eyes on both of them. This was we all voted on this award, and I think the numbers spoke for themselves. And there were some, I mean, Pete, you mentioned it, like I saw both of them. When we broke down the pitchers, like there were some really good performances that we had to decide between. And honestly, like you're always kind of looking for tiebreakers, and level of competition does matter in those awards. And like the fact that Nick Bailey did that against Edwardsville, I thought spoke volumes. At Edwardsville, at their home park, and just shut them down. So
yeah, the level of competition is actually a huge factor that I think people don't always realize. And also, like, if you're upset you didn't get mentioned, like, it's off submissions. So just have your coach submit it to us. Like, that's how we're picking these, is off of submissions. So make sure you're submitting it to us, because even if you don't win, then we put you in the Diamond Notes and we get that posted anyway. So it's just free love.
And pretty much anybody in the Diamond Notes could win a Player of the Week. like the numbers that get, thrown around throughout the state, every week is just it's video game numbers. There's some weeks where it's like, man, we had 8 submissions that would have won it last week if it just landed on a different week and had, the different stat line. But because there's, one guy that just flat out goes off, it makes it hard to win. So coaches, be like very fruitful with your submissions. Send them in. I love the Diamond Notes. I think that's one of the coolest things we do throughout the spring is highlight all these guys and performances, and that it's not just one guy getting an award. It's 10, 20, 30 guys that deserve some love and some shout outs. So it's great to get a tweet from what you do at a showcase in the winter. To me it means so much more, like actually going out and producing in the spring and putting up numbers in game.
I can hop into my uncommitted standout here. I'm staying at Freeburg, and I'm going to go with catcher Bo Brayman, an uncommitted 2027. I think the cool thing with Bo is last winter at the Southern Illinois preseason ID, he was a big winner. Myself and Hammett saw Freeburg at the Kickoff Classic last spring. He was good there. Comes to our state games this past summer, shows well there, and then continues just to impress with each watch. Defensively, to me, like he looks like he would be in that conversation for the top defensive backstop in our 2027 class. Like, I really love it. I was blessed to have some great defensive catchers, kind of at every level. So, like, maybe I have a little bit of a soft spot for those types of guys, but man, defensively, he's really impressive. Very in on the receiving capabilities. In between innings, he's giving me pop time ranges in between a 1.93 and a 2 flat. And let that be like, kind of a lesson for any catchers listening to this, whether there's a scout there or a college coach there or not. Treat that pop like in between innings, that throwdown, like it's real, like it's in game. And Bo does that every single inning. I really like how the arm plays. And then in game, like he's a very willing and soft blocker. Like blocks basically everything. And really gets after. He works his tail off behind the dish, which as a pitcher, like those are the guys you love. And then later I saw him at Plummer Park, and he banged a double off a really good arm that nearly left the yard. So kid can swing a little bit too. He's 5'10", 182 pounds, with some noticeable strength throughout the frame. So just want to mention his frame there as well. But very big fan of Bo. For these 27s like that are still uncommitted, something to keep in mind are our senior future games coming up this summer. Like, and not guaranteeing he would get an invite, but like for me, Brayman would be near the top of that list of guys I would want as a catcher on that team.
I've got 2 guys here. I'll start with right-handed pitcher Colin Jarsgaard out of OPRF. He's a 2027. He got the start against United Township on Friday. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got a really clean and controlled delivery with a 3/4 slot. He had 8 first pitch strikes in this start. The fastball played in the upper 70s, low 80s with some natural arm side run. His changeup was mid 70s, and he landed it early. Had some fading action with some true feel. I was noticing a lot later in like the 3rd and 4th inning, he started to throw a lot of first pitch strikes with his breaking balls. He was attacking those early. He then had a curveball in the mid to upper 60s that had a 12-6 shape with some gradual downer action. He also was landing this early. But yeah, his final line was 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 Ks, no walks, and no runs against United Township. So uncommitted arm in the 27 class to keep an eye on. And then I also have catcher Keenan Donaldson from New Trier, 2026. He's a former senior future gamer this past year. He's 5'10", 180 pounds with strength throughout the frame. He was hitting leadoff for New Trier, and he was aggressive at the plate. I mean, he attacked early, and something that really showed was his bat speed. He led off the bottom of the 1st inning, and he swung and missed on the first pitch of the game. And I mean, the bat speed though was crazy. And then the 2nd pitch just drills a triple over the center fielder's head. It was a towering fly ball that just burnt the center fielder. Then he ended up working a walk later in the game. I think he scored a run and might have had an RBI as well. He is the top uncommitted catcher in the state's 2026 class, so definitely keep an eye out for him. The defense also was pretty impressive throughout the game as well.
My uncommitted follow is going to be Josh Perez from Joliet Catholic, a 2027. Someone that we were too low on him coming out of the winter. Like, he deserves to be a rank, and I'm sure he'll be in this next update. But seeing him in game, it was really impressive. I mean, looking at the tools that we had measured, he's a 6'9" runner. He's 98 mile an hour for the EV, up to 86 from the outfield. But I just really like the way he looks in game. Like, love to look at the plate. Finished 3 for 4 with a double and 3 RBIs. There's bat speed. There's easy juice. Like, he skied a ball. He just missed one, got under it, skied it. It was a big league fly ball. Anyone that knows what I'm talking about, like, you know exactly how that looks and just the bat speed that it takes to do that. And just, like, yeah, love it. Intentful swings. Like, there's juice there. He's twitchy. I liked him in the outfield. Quick first step. Good reads off the bat. One that schools need to know for sure. Uncommitted 2027 over there at JCA. I think he's going to be a big part of that lineup too.
All right, go ahead, Drew.
I don't know if you were going to get into any more uncommitted follows or if you were going to move on to committed arms, but we were talking about like top performers, and I put some ones that really stood out to me down, but I wanted to just mention like a couple guys that deserve shout outs, like Beckett Weber at Normal Community. And I pull out my game card so I didn't miss this, but he's hitting in the 9-hole. He's mostly been known for his prowess on the mound, I would say, in years past. And apparently he made a big velo jump over the winter, but he's an unsigned 2026, hitting their 9-hole, played left field. I thought he took some of the best swings of the entire day for any team in that O'Fallon Normal Community game. Like, he was all over the barrel. He was on time and went 3 for 3 with a double, a run scored, and 2 RBIs. Like, really stood out to me. And two, like, if that's your 9-hole guy, you got a pretty darn good high school team. So Beckett Weber, I just want to shout you out. And then Rowan Hester at New Trier. Was hitting in their 7-hole, right fielder, but another guy, like first 3 at bats up, 3 singles, all over the barrel, on time, no swing and miss, like just really, really good performances that I wanted to shout out here, who maybe don't get, the huge love like some of these other guys, but Rowan Hester, right fielder, New Trier 2026, big game against Edwardsville.
All right, a pair of committed arms that I really liked. Camden Taylor, a 26 from Morton, committed to Dubuque. He threw 5 innings and struck out 10, only walked 1, allowed no runs and no hits for Morton. I just really liked the mover, and he attacked with 3 pitches. It was 3 pitches for strikes. The fastball was 84 to 87. Threw a curveball that had some late depth to it. It was getting some swing and miss at times, and then threw a changeup as well. So Camden Taylor out of Morton, an arm that I really liked. And then another one, probably one of my favorite arms that I saw at the Kickoff Classic, was right-handed pitcher Jack Compton, committed to Southwestern Illinois Junior College out of North Clay, 6 foot, 160-pound frame. There is a ton of upside still to come in that. Like, it is wiry, but it's athletic too. But he's got room for strength still to come. Just really like the way that he moves. It's loose. It's easy. He repeats. Throws a lot of strikes. Threw 5 innings, struck out 7, didn't walk anyone, didn't allow a run, and only allowed 1 hit. But the fastball was 85 to 88. Curveball was 73 to 75. Kind of had varying shapes at 11, like 11.5, 12.6 at times. But again, was getting a lot of swing and miss with it. So really liked Jack there, and I think he's gonna. North Clay was my one of my teams for 1A or either a bubble team. I can't remember what exactly. So I think Jack will be a big part of helping North Clay get to the state finals in Champaign this year.
For my committed arm, I'm going to go with right-handed pitcher Dylan Huff out of Glenwood, a 2026, committed to Toledo, former future gamer for us. We've long liked Dylan. He would have been right in that conversation for top performer that segment we did earlier. Like, man, I thought he was really pitching Friday for Glenwood. Like, throwing everything for strikes. His fastball was 87 to 89. Slider was 74 to 75, which he's long been able to spin it. And then he's also flashing a real changeup for me at 77 to 78. Like, his line, he struck out 7 over 4 innings, only gave up 2 hits, and like even the contact was like very weak that he would induce if they were able to get any contact at all. Like, just really impressed with Dylan. Like, felt like it was a more polished look at him than maybe what we've seen in the past, which makes sense, right? Like, he's a senior now. Feel like he's probably really coming into his own now as a pitcher. But I really liked it. I kind of felt like he really shoved Friday for Glenwood.
I got 2 guys here from Normal Community. First one is Josh Jones, Indiana State commit, 2026. Really what I thought was noteworthy was just the fact that it's the first outing in the spring and he's touching 93. Kind of put himself on the map as like, all right, this is one of the top power arms in the state. I think we've seen him more in the zone and pitching, at a higher level in the past, but like I have faith that will come here as the year goes on. But the arm strength is undeniable. He was 90-92, touching 93, 82 mile an hour curveball. Just a really loud first impression there for Normal Community. And you talk about like, okay, Normal Community has him and they have Gavin Swartz. That's a pretty darn good 1-2 punch with a ton of velo coming at you. And then out of the bullpen, I saw Landon Corbin, Augustana commit 2026, and like he flat pitched. You mentioned Dylan Huff like really pitching. Corbin was the same exact way. Like 30 of his 40 pitches landed for strikes. He was 83-85, touching 86. Went to the breaking ball anytime he wanted to. And then in 3 innings, he scattered 2 hits, 1 run, did not walk a guy, and struck out 3. Just a really good showing there for Landon Corbin.
I'll jump in. My top committed arm was Liam Nash from Huntley, the 2027 Houston commit. He was a future gamer for us for Team Select. He showed some huge velo. He was up to 94, sitting more 92, 93. But it was like high octane, intentful right at you in the zone. He was getting whiffs in the zone. He was actually controlling it to the glove side as well with the amount of intent that he was using, which was impressive. And then the slider looks like a real weapon, 79 to 81. There's depth to it. He's confident. He threw it first pitch of his outing. There's good shape to it. So real 2-pitch mix there and pretty dynamic stuff, especially being up to 94 that early. So wouldn't be surprised to see that number continue to climb.
One of my favorite position players from the Kickoff Classic was Dunlap, shortstop, righter, and net. He's a 2028. And I think the thing I like about him the most is right now I like the player that he is, but there's still so much room for him to grow physically. And once he becomes more physical, I think at the plate, it's only going to get better just because the pop off the bat is going to come a lot more easy for him. But I think the left-handed swing is super easy. It's super loose. He repeats really well. And I just think there's so much more to come. He's got barrel control. And as he continues to add that strength, the power is going to continue to come. He's got actions on the infield. I like the footwork. I like the hands. He's very confident. Just moves around left to right really easily. And then also, he's just an athlete. He's a point guard on the basketball court for Dunlap as well. So Ryder, he's one of the top 28s in the class right now is where we have him at. I think he's at number 10. But I think as he gets more physical, it's just only going to get better.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the part about him being a basketball player because I got to see a little bit of him defensively for Dunlap Saturday, and the kid has some hops. He nearly caught a line drive that like I feel like any normal kid probably shouldn't have any chance at. So love the shout out on Ryder there. Definitely love the athlete. My upside name is going to be Dax Randolph, a shortstop out of Harrisburg, 2028. Really like the actions up the middle. Like I think he can really play shortstop at the next level here in a few years. Right-handed hitter. I just loved how simple his approach was. Uses the whole field. It's not a super efforty swing. It's just, hey, I'm going to try and be bat to ball here. But he was on the barrel multiple times for me. And like I said, he plays a good shortstop as well. So that's my upside follow from this past weekend. is Dax Randolph.
I mentioned I got to see Normal University play on that Friday. I got to watch Caleb Hornbrook go off with the bat, but man, Normal University has two arms that I'm really excited about. Their starter Isaac Schroeder is a extremely long levered, like loose moving 2028 and left-handed pitcher, set 82, 83. Flash three pitches, like mid 60s breaking ball, low 70s changeup. The breaking ball has like potential to be a well above average pitch down the road. Like it showed glimpses of it. But for how long levered he is as a sophomore, I thought he did a really good job controlling his levers, pitching in the zone. That's going to be a really, really intriguing name, not only this spring, but moving forward. Like his best days are yet to come. It's only a matter of time before that velo continues to shoot up. And then right after him, they go to freshman Ben Bartlett, 2029, right-handed arm, and I loved it. He was not on the roster when I was, seeing who was coming in out of the bullpen. I didn't see his number on the roster, so Normal University had some guys behind the home plate doing their own kind of charting, velo charts and all that. So I asked him, I'm like, all right, who we got here? Find out he's a freshman. Made me like it even more because I saw him warming up. I was like, okay, that's an athletic, quick arm. He was 81, 83, upper 60s breaking ball. And you watch his video, you watch the way he moves. Like, I think he has a chance to be one of the best 2029 arms in that central Illinois area. I think the velo is only going to continue to tick up. I love the movement patterns. You can count me in as like a huge Ben Bartlett, fan, especially like the ceiling there. Presently, it's really interesting, but I think the ceiling on him is huge. And then another 2029 arm that I think is going to be one of the best arms in the southern Illinois area is Brandon Klein at Muscuda. Another, fluid, like silky mover. I love the movement patterns, how he gets down the mound. His older brother, Darren Klein's a 2027, who's, very interesting in his own right, pitched at 85, 87. But Brandon Klein comes out of the pen for Muscuda, high leverage situation and carves. We had seen him more in like the low 80s range. He's 83, 86 in this outing for Muscuda, and there's so much more to come in his frame and just his arm action. And I thought that was like one of the cooler things here about the Kickoff Classic, Gavin, is we're talking about upside names right now. And like there were so many upside guys down there. Up another position player that I love the video of this winter. Saw him at an event down in Southern Illinois, but Connor Gray, 2029, left-handed hitting shortstop out of Belleville East. I believe he's the younger brother, or he's at least related to Drew Gray and Evan Gray, who were two standouts coming out of Belleville East a few years back. Drew Gray's in the Cubs organization. He ended up going down to IMG when he was a senior. But Connor Gray, long levered, like you can dream on the frame. No, he probably could have been, mentioned as one of the top performers because he went 2 for 4, including like a big late game leadoff double and RBI single as well. And I love the maturity that he shows. He's got a low pulse presence to him. And I'm just a huge fan of the ceiling there for Connor Gray.
Yeah, that Brandon Klein video looked unbelievable. He looks every bit the part of like a top 29 in the state. Really similar to a young Darren Klein as well. But I'll hop in. My upside underclassman he's going to be is Ian Moore from OPRF. Drew, I knew you were a big fan of him as well. But younger brother of Ethan Moore, who turned down a draft. Now he's at Tennessee. Switch hitting middle infielder. Well, Ian Moore is also a switch hitting middle infielder, and he's starting to look more and more like his brother by the day. Starting to fill out, getting stronger. The swing really works. There's starting to be some bat speed in there. I thought the hands were good. He was able to handle some velo, and the glove's real. It's on the infield. Showed some big time actions up the middle at second base. I just think he's a name that we're going to be becoming really familiar with as a high-level shortstop / middle infielder in the state, and just came away a big fan. He was maybe the biggest takeaway I had, one of the biggest takeaways I had from the whole trip.
No, I love it. He's so far away from he's just starting to scratch the surface of where he's going to be. And I love the way the swing worked. He stayed inside a baseball and laced a line drive. It's a level path. It's fairly similar to Ethan. Actually, the way the swing works, and then he made a high level play there, snagging a line drive like on the dive. Just seems like a baseball player. A lot to like with Ian Moore.
Yeah, I'll hop in here. This also could have been potentially under the top performer. I've got catcher, first baseman Sam Ferris out of Rochester. He's at 2027. He's a physical frame. He attacked early in the count with some controlled aggression. He really stayed compact, and he was on the barrel with the ability to hit the all fields. He finished the game 4 for 4 with 2 doubles, an RBI, and a run. And yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with the hit tool on him. I think it's going to be able to translate to the next level, and I mean, the power is just going to continue to increase with that physical frame he has. But yeah, Sam Ferris really impressed, and is definitely a name for schools to look for.
I didn't see it live, Nick, but I was in love with the video. The fluidity pre-pitch and the way the swing works to go along with the strength that he has, looks like a high-level hit tool there. Kind of like a sneaky, especially like the way he started off the year, but he's like a sneaky all-state team type candidate for me. So I'll be following Sam Ferris throughout the spring.
And then another guy I'll throw out there, Cody Bush. I mean, we know that he's a gamer. We saw him over the summer at the JFGs. And then he's a freshman starting. He played shortstop in the 2 games that I saw for JCA. And I mean, he had 2 barrels up the middle and 2 RBIs. I mean, right now he's 5'9", 148 pounds, but I mean, it's just going to continue to tick up. But the kid's a gamer. Didn't feel pressure, freshman playing on JCA, and I mean, he performed really well for his first week in high school baseball.
I mentioned the normal schools a lot here. I feel like I'm sitting in Gavin's shoes, but I'm gonna throw out another normal community prospect as an upside name. Not an underclassman, but like I think he's another guy that's like got so much more left in the tank, and it's Carter Harris, outfielder. He was playing right field. He's committed to Olivet Nazarene. He's 2026, and I look at him and it's like, if this were 10 years ago when I first started doing this is like the exact guy that you would try to get to walk on, to a Division I type school and develop him in your system. And it's really changed the way recruiting has gone these days. And I think Olivet Nazarene is going to be a great fit for him. He'll have a chance to probably impact their roster early. But he's 6'4", 195 pounds. He could add 20 pounds of muscle, and you probably wouldn't even be able to tell. Like, it's very long levered, and he's athletic. And like, to be 6'4", a left-handed hitter with athleticism, and then on top of that, I saw him hit a backside home run. So opposite field home run at O'Fallon, down the left field line, and then I saw him make a couple, well above average plays in right field where he's having to range. He had to lay out. And then I saw him hit a ground ball, and he ran a 4.36 down the line. He's ran a 6.88 in a showcase before, but like he checked off a ton of boxes in one game's look where he's got the frame, he hits left-handed, he's got the run tool, he can play some defense, and he's got power. I'm gonna follow that in the long term. I think there's a lot to like for the ceiling of Carter Harris.
You guys want to move on to top overall prospect here? All right, I'll jump in. My top overall prospect, Anderson Kaufman from Alton, 2028 right-handed pitcher. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's the most impressed I've ever been with a sophomore. Just the polish and the stuff he has. Like, so he struck out 7 over 3.2 innings, first start of the year, no walks. Sat literally 89 to 92 the entire time. Mostly like 90, 91, but was still reaching back for 92 in the 3rd and 4th inning. And it's real command, not control, command. He was commanding both sides of the plate and up in the zone. And especially his glove side to right-handed hitters, especially with 2 strikes. Like, he was dotting that corner. Great pitches. Like, there's a clear difference between control and command, and I'm saying he was commanding his fastball this outing. And the slider. Like, he's ultra confident in that thing. 76 to 79, good shape. There's depth to it, really sharp action, late bite, and he'll throw it whenever he wants. He threw it the first pitch of the game, potentially even the first 2 pitches of the game, and then he went right back to 91 miles an hour. And I was just impressed with the overall game that he has. Like, he was holding runners extremely well, varying his looks, holding for a long time to make them uncomfortable. You know, like when you sit there and you hold, it gets them antsy. Like, that's something that you learn later on and that you do when you're mature, like down the line in college. He was doing that as a or a sophomore in high school. Works really fast, which I love personally. Just gets the ball and goes. He was making adjustments like from pitch to pitch by himself without even having a pitching coach come out there, like mechanical cues, timing cues. And you could see he was literally like, not that there was ever really a time where he was in trouble per se, but he was like calming himself after like a bad pitch. Like, you can tell he's like, all right, lock in, do this. And then he would execute. Like, every time he would execute. So just so impressed with him. That's going to be a dude that's going to be an absolute stud for a long time.
Well, and I'd love to hear it like in game because he threw one of the most impressive pens we saw all winter. We're discussing the top of the 2028 class. I think you can go a number of different ways, and I think we're all fully bought in on Anderson Kaufman and have been. So that's a name for all the schools across the country to know. Another 2028 name for me that I think all the schools across the country should know is Nicholas Chirotto at Edwardsville. He is a shortstop, right-handed pitcher. And I know we saw him early on at the Kickoff Classic on the mound. He's up to 88, sitting 86, 88. I love the movement patterns. It's really easy. Physically, you look at him, he's so far away from where he's going to be eventually down the road. And then I swung over there on Friday night to catch the game that Pete was watching between Edwardsville and OPRF, and he had a couple loud barrels, like driving a ball to the center field wall. So I really like the swing as well. He's a sub-7 runner. And then I got to lock in on Edwardsville, see a full game against him on Saturday against New Trier. And I think I'm texting you guys before the game, just like, man, the pregame infield defense was so polished and so advanced. Hunter Ball was starting on the mound that day. Typically, Hunter Ball would be playing shortstop for Edwardsville. So I got to see Chirotto at shortstop. And for a sophomore, I easily could have been watching a college pregame infield, and he would have fit right in. It was super mature, very clean actions. The arm plays with life and ease across the infield, extremely accurate, just like Carson Bauer was when I watched pregame on Thursday. The way he moves around and flows, like he's just highly athletic. I was super bought in just watching him in pregame. And then Hunter Ball comes out of the mound, off the mound, goes to play shortstop during the game. Chirotto then moves over to third. And I see him make a play over at third base. You know, probably a position that he's hasn't played a ton of. Like, he's playing second, he's playing short. He moves over to third and handles this play with ease. And at first I didn't know he was over there. And then I was like, I had to look back at the roster, make sure I knew who made that play, because he made it look so easy, so athletic. And it was like, oh yeah, that was Chirotto. That makes sense. So I am super, super in on Nick Chirotto, 2028 at Edwardsville. He's a true two-way guy for me right now. Like, no need to pick. He's very advanced everywhere, with the bat, with the glove, on the mound. Hammett, you got to see him more than me, but Johnny Nelson at Oak Park River Forest, 2026 shortstop, committed to Wright State. Just immediately stands out with the frame and the way he floats around on defense. I think Wright State's got a guy that can stick at shortstop, probably play shortstop early on in his college career. And man, if the bat becomes as potent as what I think his defense is, like, I think he's a future draft type guy. And I love the makeup. I loved him at the future games when he was with us. And that was just another guy that stood out to me as one of the top overall prospects.
Yeah, I think we all kind of had that takeaway, like, unprompted. Like, you walked up, I told you Johnny Nelson's a stud at shortstop. We're at dinner, Nick DiBenedetto's like, Johnny Nelson's a stud at shortstop. Like, it just stands out. You know what I mean? The way he moves around out there is different. It's high level. And, I mean, he's long been, like, an athletic frame, but he's looked like he's added some more muscle to it. And I saw him lace a ball to center field on a line, and it almost left the yard. It was caught, but it was still an awesome swing. You know, he mashed playing at the top of the zone and got it. You know, it was, I don't know the EV, but it was a missile. So I have faith that the bat will eventually come around to match that defense. But, man, yeah, he really looks the part out there, and he's fun to watch.
So my top overall prospect is not Kickoff Classic related. We are recording this Wednesday morning, and I had the pleasure of getting out last night to a game. Got over to Downers Grove North. They were taking on Oswego East, and right-handed pitcher Colin Doyle, 2027 going to Duke, was on the mound for DGN, and he's kind of been a topic of conversation on this podcast. It feels like for like the last month, but namely for what he did at our preseason All-State in a bullpen setting, but in game, he backed it all up of what he did in a bullpen setting, which from where we sit, I think is what we want to see above all else. And man, on the mound, he was pretty dominant. It's 6'6", 220 pounds. Like, the frame's incredible. He's a basketball player in the winter. The fastball was 91 to 93, touched to 94 in the first. He pitched at more 90 to 93. But, man, I was so impressed with his outing. He threw 69% strikes, 69% first pitch strikes on the guys he faced. Just pretty blown away. Really liked the slider. I love that he threw it to both left-handers and right-handed hitters. The ability to throw that to both sides of the plate, I think, is very important as he continues to mature and progress and polish up his arsenal. And then on top of that, he was showing me a splitter that I think can be effective as well. Luckily, it reminds me a lot, and I'm not saying they're the same pitcher, but when I saw Ryan Sloan 2 years ago, right, he was more fastball slider. Gavin, he showed that changeup that you talked about in the state finals, but like when you have a low 90s fastball and you've got a good slider, you don't really need to show the third pitch all that often. So he just kind of flashed it last night, I felt like, but man, I was really impressed with Colin. Like, I love the delivery. To me, he's a starter all day at the next level. So man, he really backed it up. His meteoric rise in our rankings, right? He's now up to number 4 in our 2027 class, and man, he looked every bit of the part. So, and then his stat line, he struck out 9 guys over 4 innings, 2 walks, just 1 hit. But mainly, man, he was in the zone with everything. So, Colin Doyle, top overall prospect.
All right, that'll wrap up episode 63 of the Bullpen. As always, appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Apple and Spotify podcasts. And rate us on Spotify and Apple podcasts.
Man, I was going to say, Gavin, make sure you get the rate in there. Make sure you subscribe, follow, do all the good stuff. Appreciate all the listeners.